so-called Negro community has shocked the white man by resisting all efforts to divide us. I think that you and I should continue to shock him by staying and working together in unity, despite religious, political, economic, or educational or social differences.
My people are terrified. We've been terrorized to the point that we're mentally and spiritually paralyzed. We suffered through centuries of dehumanization and degradation. It took the form of slavery and segregation in this land of the free, where oppression's government sanctioned. We're subjected to systemic skin color discrimination, from black codes to Jim Crow to black criminalization. It's been 400 years, it's time for our liberation. We're a nation within a nation, victims of colonization. Where's our revolution and Independence Day celebration? Cause what's the 4th of July to the slave on the plantation? And slavery didn't end, they just changed its implementation. Just check the 13th Amendment, then you'll see why so many black males end up as guilty defendants. The system isn't broken, it's working as it's intended. So I'm not here to fix it, I'm here to end it.
And then again, if we tell you that Negroes are being hung on the tree or being shot down illegally, unjustly, and those Negroes should do something to protect themselves, you say you're advocating violence.
I won't rest till this nightmare we're living in ends, and we see justice for our murdered young innocent men. If black lives really matter, black people need the proof. Cause we are the only ones responsible for our improvement. How can we leave it to someone else to do what's best for us, especially when there's someone else has historically been oppressing us? We can't use a system built to enslave us to free us, and we really sick if we think that they white Jesus can heal us. Our children need us to defend them, teach them and guide them, show them love and bring out the greatness that is deep inside them. Are we gonna build a nation or stay on the plantation? Keep begging for our freedom or fight for our liberation?
When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, he didn't say get nonviolent. He said praise the Lord, but pass the ammunition.
We must be willing to die together or we'll definitely die separately. We desperately need unity if liberation is our destiny. If we don't know our history, then we doomed to repeat it. White supremacy is the enemy, but together we can defeat it. They stole us from the motherland, sold us into slavery, forced us to work for them. They got the nerve to call us lazy. In this caste system, we're outcasts, still treated as second class. But I can feel it in the air, revolutions in the forecast. We came for greatness, but they don't want us to know. So they hid our history to keep us under control. All it takes is to take a stand. The enemy's not invincible, but we must come together as one nation indivisible.
20 million black people don't even know their own language. Why? Because he took it away from them. 20 million black people who don't even know the history of their ancestors. Why? Because he took it away from them. And if you're trying to tell them how thoroughly and completely they've been robbed, he says you're teaching hate. That's something to think about. Today you are coming out of college. You're coming out of the leading university. You're trying to go in a good direction, but you don't know which direction to go in.
So family, I'm going to cover this story, and plenty of you probably have seen this tragic story now about the Kenyan immigrant Irene Gakwa. And I'm going to, in this presentation, try to cover this in a way that hopefully any black immigrants that come over here, especially the women, will think twice about going over to the other side and getting involved with these white men or white women, because you don't want to end up like Christian Obumseli either. We're going to get into some historical facts here, but before we do that, I need to bring you up to speed on the story, just in case you are a person who's in an African nation or a Caribbean nation and you happen to come across this video. I want you to consider very carefully all the content that you're about to see, because it could save your life. As y'all see in the headline here, and this is on CNN, Caucasian Nazi Network, I know, but I want to find one of the most current, articles about it that went into detail. You see, she met this guy on Craigslist. So let's read what they say they found out so far. And as you see, this is a picture of the sister right here. Irene Gakwa's last WhatsApp video call with her parents was filled with gentle ribbing, but beneath the banter were hints that something was off. When her face appeared on the phone screen, her dad teased her that she looked hungry and tired. Her smile was more subdued, he noted. Her short hair, usually braided, was rumpled. Make sure you drink hot milk and relax, her dad said from his living room in the Kenyan capital of Nairobi. That was February 24th, the last time anyone in her family saw her. A month later, less than 3 years after Gakwa left Kenya for the United States, her family reported her missing. At the time of the February video call, Gakwa's parents were not aware she was living in, I guess that's Gillette, Wyoming, with a man she met on a Craigslist forum. It was hard for me to even get that out, family, because let me tell y'all something before I continue further reading this article, brothers and sisters. My continental African brothers and sisters, please listen to me. You don't meet up with nobody off of no damn Craigslist. Y'all better stop getting over here and only getting up under people in your community that hadn't been here very long, or running to these predominantly white areas where not a lot of black people are, because y'all don't understand nothing about this country. When we tell y'all about racism and white supremacy, that's not something that we just making up. We're going to get into that a little bit later, though. Let's continue with this article. They also had no way of knowing that that police would later accuse the man of removing money from her checking account, maxing out her credit card, and deleting her email account. And they never imagined that 6 months would go by without a word from her. She's always been a daddy's girl, said her father, Francis Campbell, in a recent phone interview from Nairobi. He took a deep breath as he recalled that last video call with his only daughter and youngest of his 3 children. She was supposed to come home for Christmas this year. I was going to buy that ticket myself for her to come if she couldn't afford it, he added, his voice shaking. Now I don't know if I'll ever see her again. See, before we even go any further, let me tell y'all something, man. I'm speaking as a Southern Georgia man when I say this, right? And the greater majority of the foundation of black Americans over here, I would assume this applies to, but I know it applies to people in the South to this day. We're not going to go no months without talking to our family members, especially our children. Now, I'm not a father. I don't have children, but I'd be damned if it would take that long for me to find out what was going on with my daughter if I know we talk on a regular basis and I don't hear from her. If as much as a week went by and I didn't hear nothing, I would be concerned. It shouldn't have took this long for him to be concerned. When you got that feeling in your gut that something ain't right, man, you don't sit on it and wait. That could be a life or death situation. Let's continue on here. Her worried family members span 2 continents as it gets into this section. Gakwa's worried family spans 2 continents, 9,000 miles apart. Her parents live in Nairobi while her 2 older brothers, Chris Munger and Kennedy Wynana, I guess that's how you pronounce it, live in the Idaho city of Meriden, a Boise suburb. Lord, running up on them white people when y'all come over here, that is not safe. That is the equivalent of putting yourself behind enemy lines. Her father started worrying in late February when she did not respond to repeated video calls. This was unusual for the 32-year-old who spoke to her parents about every other day. Okay, as you see, this is some of her relatives here. Man, I just don't know how else we can tell y'all about running over here up under these white folks like that. It is not safe. When you come over here, just because you are not a black American and you thinking that you African, you still wear the uniform of our skin, which is black. And that's all these people see you as. You're not special. I don't care how many of them tell you that. They look at you just the same as us. And they like to prey upon you because they figure since they tell you so different and you eat that up. Have some of y'all ever stopped to think about? Have some of y'all ever stopped to think about what if these people are telling you this to set you up to do you some harm? See, this is the problem. When a lot of you, where you from, you have this idyllic worship and idolization of white people. That can get you in situations like this. Let's continue reading here. And her written messages sounded odd, her family said, instead of the mix of Swahili and Kenyan slang she uses. The messages were in stilted English, like someone was using Google Translate to send them, said Wynana, that's her oldest brother. The text will be out of place, her father said. In early March, between the last video call and the day that she was reported missing, her parents received some short WhatsApp messages from her account. Some made excuses for why she wasn't doing video calls. Dad, I dropped my phone in the water and now the microphone doesn't work, one message said. Another said, I just want you to know I love and miss you, you and Mom. We miss you. We want to see you, not just chat on WhatsApp, her father responded. We love you always. You will be my daughter forever. Okay, so now this is the part where this right here, man, this is going to get despicable. And it's talking about her boyfriend's involvement in this. Okay, so now the last WhatsApp message came on March 9th, her father said. The three siblings share a cell phone, a cell phone family plan. After Gakwa's brothers could not reach her, they looked through her phone records and called a close friend she talked to numerous times. That's how they found out she had been living with her boyfriend. Here we go. This is a picture of this bastard. Nathan Heitman, 39, in a modest 3-bedroom house in Gillette. The couple had dated since 2020, but had broken up several times. Wynana said her brothers thought they parted ways and were not aware they rekindled their romance and moved in together. Her brothers reported her missing to the Gillette Police Department on March 20th, and an officer talked to Heitman the same day, according to an affidavit of probable cause in a related separate criminal case against her boyfriend. Heitman told the officer he last saw Gakwa in late February when she came home one night, packed her clothing in 2 plastic bags, and left in a dark-colored SUV, the affidavit said. He told police he hadn't heard from her since. He also said he withdrew money from her bank account, so she would be forced to contact him if she needed money, the affidavit said. Heitman did not respond to the brothers' request to hand over her stuff in their home, Wynana said. They implored him to give them her documents, including her Kenyan passport, but Heitman declined, Wynana added. Heitman is considered a person of interest in her disappearance and has not made himself available to detectives looking to resolve questions that exist in the investigation, Gillette police said in a statement. We believe he has information pertaining to the disappearance of Irene, but he has elected not to provide that information to law enforcement. Oh, you don't say. Gillette Police Detective Dan Stroop told CNN. CNN has made repeated attempts to reach Heitman via phone, text, email, blah, blah, but he has not responded. CNN also left messages for his public defender, Dallas Lamb, but did not hear back. Heitman has not been charged. My African brothers and sisters, listen to me. I'm going to read that again. Heitman, the white man that is responsible for this woman's abduction and possible murder, has not been charged in Gakwa's disappearance, but is a suspect in financial crimes against her after she went missing. Police arrested him in May and charged him with 2 felony counts of theft, 1 felony count of unlawful use of a credit card, and 2 felony counts of crimes against intellectual property for allegedly changing her bank account password and deleting her email account after she vanished. Now, did y'all just hear that? Y'all better understand something. For those of you that are immigrating from these African nations and Caribbean nations, this is a pattern amongst white men here. We're going to get into that later on. We're going to continue with this. Between February and March, Heitman transferred nearly $3,700 from Gakwa's bank account to his own and spent an additional $3,230 on her credit card, court documents allege. He also changed her banking passwords and deleted her Gmail account, court documents said. All the changes were made from an IP address associated with Heitman after the date he told police Gakwa had moved out, according to the probable cause affidavit. This will indicate that it was Nathan Heitman accessing Irene's account, removing money, and changing the password to deny access to Irene, the affidavit said. These transactions began on February 25th, 2022, and continued through March 2022. Heitman has pleaded not guilty to all charges and was released on a $10,000 bond. His pre-trial conference is scheduled for November. Okay, so now y'all pay attention to this now. For those of you that's over here in that divestment dummy movement, you need to be talking about this, because y'all stay quiet when something like this happens. Y'all don't give a damn about no black women from any lineage if you're not talking about getting justice for this or any other black women that this has happened to. Meanwhile, Gakwa's 2 brothers and her sister-in-law have been commuting to Gillette from Meriden several weekends a month to organize search parties. Most days they have no idea where to begin. They've visited morgues and hospitals. They've checked shelters for unhoused people. They've launched a website, whereisirene.com. They've asked local authorities to check whether she joined the U.S. military, an idea she briefly entertained. Some residents of Gillette, a city of 32,000 in northeastern Wyoming, predominantly white, y'all keep moving to these predominantly white cities and states, have rallied to find her wearing T-shirts that read, "Where's Irene?" They've hosted weekend search parties and canvassed neighborhoods seeking permission to put up missing person signs. It's not unusual to see images of Gakwa posted in the neighborhood where she lived with her boyfriend. No family should ever have to go to bed at night wondering where their loved one is, said Stacy Coester, who lives in Gillette and has been organizing searches with a group of local women since April. Before we continue, I want y'all to stop and look at this picture right here. And you see these people right here with these signs talking about where is Irene. Let me tell y'all black immigrants over here in America something, and any of you that are thinking of immigrating here from African and Caribbean nations. You better look up what happened to our brother Ahmaud Arbery down in Brunswick, Georgia. These people will kill you, have it on video and circulate it amongst themselves, making jokes about it. And the only way that any of it will come to light is if somebody happens to slip up and it gets into the wrong hands. And the reason why I'm bringing it up, I want you to look at this picture right here. You better understand that these people right here, when it comes to protecting their own, I guarantee you somebody else knows what that man did to that woman. And they're willing to help. They'll go out there and help you search for her, knowing exactly what happened. Y'all better understand the low down, dirty, soulless capability of these damn alabaster devils over here that we deal with on a daily basis. See, y'all black immigrants better understand something. When in Rome, you do as the Romans do. When you come over here, you better find some thorough black Americans to game you up on what to do and what not to do, where to go and where not to go. Y'all get over here, you think that because some white person has showed you some interest, that you somewhat better than us and all this Akata talk and all of that. See, what the sick part of the joke is, and I don't want to see any black person hurt from no matter what lineage you are. The sick part of the joke is, the sick butt of it rather is, they know that you gullible and you going to eat that up, and you easy pickings if they decide to do something to you, because you go and isolate yourself in predominantly white areas. And then if it's some rednecks over there or some white supremacists that want to do a black person some harm, there your little sitting duck ass is, easy pickings. Some of y'all just hadn't figured it out yet. We can't put it in no more plainer language trying to warn you about doing this. You thinking that you smart because some white woman or white man is willing to deal with you as if that makes you better than us. Don't let me break something down to y'all before we continue. Black women have access to deal with white men all day long over here. The same thing for black men. If we wanted to deal with Becky, we could do that. But see, those of us with sense, even if we did decide to deal with them, we know not to go and isolate ourselves around where they are. Those of us with sense, because we got some in our community that don't have good sense. And they'll go put themselves in these situations, but it's very rare. See, this is where being a naive person in a strange land can be life or death. This is where being a coon in a strange land can be life or death. Racism and white supremacy is a matter of life or death in the United States of America, where race is always an issue. There's no such thing as it's not about race in this country. All you have to do is look at the situation over here where you start seeing things that happen to our brother George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, okay? Amadou Diallo, Botham Jean. I could go on and on. Because see, if you calling yourself thinking, oh, they just do that to the black Americans, them names that I just named, Amadou Diallo, Botham Jean, they weren't foundational black Americans. The same treatment is rendered towards your people over here. And you make it easier when you isolate yourself in these predominantly white areas. Them people don't want you there like that. Just see, y'all bad problem is a lot of you that this applies to, you think because a white person grins in your face and offer you a couple of things, you think that mean that person really like you. You better study this adversary over here. And if you don't understand, get with some of us. We'll gladly put you up on what's going on. I tell many of you that I talk to who I'm cool with on continental Africans and Caribbean people, read Dr. Neely Fuller Jr.'s work. Pick up Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, the ISIS Papers. Read those two books right there alone, in addition to listening to New Black Media. You're going to understand what you should do and what you shouldn't do here. But see, when you isolate yourself and you think you're so much smarter than everybody, you end up going missing or keep being unfortunately killed in situations like this that you put yourself into. Let's continue reading. They've mapped out areas to search and marked off where they've already looked so they don't go over the same place twice, Coester said. We promised her father and her brothers that we would never stop searching until we bring her home or they have answers, she added. That's our goal. We are their family here in Gillette. Yeah, right. Coester and other neighbors also have gathered outside Heitman's home holding signs and chanting, "Nate, where's Irene?" Sometimes her father watches the demonstrations via video from Kenya, but with every passing day, hope fades a little. And unfortunately, in these situations, the longer the time passes, that person is not going to show up alive. I would like to see a happy ending to that, but I got to be realistic. I don't think they're going to find this sister alive. Born and raised in Kenya, Gakwa immigrated to the United States in May 2019, hoping to launch a career in healthcare. And as y'all saw, as the article is stating here, she was a very petite sister. She stood just over 5 feet tall and weighed about 90 pounds. So she was, 90 pounds soaking wet, man. So if that big bastard decided to do something to harm her, she wouldn't been able to put up much resistance. At first, her parents resisted their introverted daughter's plans to move to a faraway country. They worried about how she'd adjust. She was so shy, she barely left her room in their suburban Nairobi home to go outside, her father said. We sometimes had to remind her to get out of the house and to get some sunlight, her father also said. But we decided since her brothers are there, why not? Gakwa settled first in Idaho to be near her brothers with dreams of attending nursing school and working in a hospital. She lived with the younger of her brothers, Chris Munger, and his wife, Joyce Abete. I guess I'm saying that night, or Joyce Abete in Meriden. There, she developed a close bond with her sister-in-law. Both women took a girls' trip to Los Angeles in 2020, and in between shopping and eating out visits to the beach, Gakwa confided in Abete that she was dating Heitman. Gakwa spent a lot of time with him on the phone, Abete said, but did not share many details about their relationship. Abete described her sister-in-law as a sweet, fun-loving person who started her mornings with a cup of tea and enjoyed cooking, shopping, and watching Nigerian movies. She's such a free spirit, so caring, so goofy. She just goes with the flow, Abete said. Gakwa and Hyman eventually moved in together in Meridian, and she started nursing school at the College of Western Idaho in the summer of 2021. They relocated to Gillette, where she transferred to Gillette Community College. At times, her father would ask Gakwa if she wanted to return to Kenya. She'd tell me, "Dad, I'm good. I have my own life now," Campbell said. In the months before she vanished, Gakwa returned to Meridian several times to visit her family. Last Thanksgiving, they gathered at the house of Munger, her younger brother. There, and she and her siblings made their favorite African delicacies, including goat barbecue, jollof rice, ugali, and a form of cornmeal popular in Kenya. Gakwa cooked a side of cabbage with lots of tomatoes, just like their mother used to make while they were growing up. She taught Betty how to make it for her brother. They ate and talked later to the night. That was the last time her siblings saw her in person. Family, before we get into the last segments of this article right here, understand that when you move over here and you immigrate from another country, even if you have siblings over here, I'm going to tell you something that y'all better start being concerned about. You better start having conversations on race relations in America and start asking how the people over here that are native Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, are treated. Because that's what you're going to be viewed as when you come over here. They're going to view you as just another Black person. So if your family members are the type that tell you, "Oh, the Akatas are just making things up," and "Oh, we just exaggerating," okay. Just know that when you get over here, especially over there where you're from in your home nations, if most of your family has told you that the best thing for you to do when you get to America is find the first white ass you can to get up under, you could be putting yourself into one of these situations. There's been too many to count. Those of us over here in New Black Media have covered too many stories on this happening to you brothers and sisters when you come over here. And you get yourself in situations with these people because you're so happy to be dating a white person, you just throw all logic and caution to the wind and never mind the history of these people in this country of murdering and killing Black people and being able to get away with it. It damn near take an act of God to get these people prosecuted for harming our people over here. And you think you're going to come over here and be different? I don't want to see these tragedies occur with y'all, but let's continue reading here with what they're saying happened. The Gillette Police Department said it has executed approximately 24 search warrants in the case, including at Heitman's home and at several banks, to track activity on Gakwa's accounts. During one of the searches, investigators recovered a shovel and boots Heitman bought at a Walmart in late February using Gakwa's Visa card, according to court documents. Family, before I even say anything else, y'all know what that probably means. Oh man, y'all know what that probably means. That man killed that woman and bought the items that he was going to use to cover up this woman's murder with her own credit card. It don't get no more cold-blooded than that. If you're a Black immigrant over here, I hope you're listening. I hope you're listening. I'm doing this out of love and as a warning to those of you, especially you young women over here, because just as it could go left if you are a continental African man and you get over in a situation and you end up getting stabbed like Christian Obumseli, you are really at a disadvantage as a woman who is the weaker sex between the two if something goes wrong with one of these crazy ass white men who kill their own women. According to the FBI statistics, they lead in rape, kidnapping, and all other types of sexual deviant crimes. If they willing to do that to their own women, what makes you think you're going to be any different you coming over here being an African? Let's continue. In April, Gillette police issued a statement naming Heitman a person of interest in the case and saying he has not made himself available to detectives looking to resolve questions that exist in the investigation. The police added, Irene went missing under suspicious circumstances. Oh, you don't say it. Digital evidence, including data location, is also being analyzed and has provided positive leads. Stroop, the detective, said the investigation is ongoing. In the event probable cause is established, appropriate action will be taken. He said, how much more probable cause do you need? Do y'all hear that? Everything that I just read you so far, you trying to tell me that ain't probable cause? This man shouldn't be free running around the community right now. But if this was a black person, I guarantee you his ass would be locked up. If this is a situation, this is what I want y'all to understand, black immigrant brothers and sisters. Understand that if this was a situation where it was a black man and some little young white woman had went missing over here, first of all, he'd be lucky if he made it to jail. Somebody would have been pulled up on him with intent to do him some harm from the white community. I want y'all to really let that register for a minute. Let's continue. Gakwa's family is still holding out hope that somehow she'll contact them or come back home. The alternative is too hard to bear. Abedi wishes she held Gakwa a little tighter. Last time they hugged, her children asked over and over where their aunt is. Gakwa's 33rd birthday was in July, and her nephews thought if they threw a party, maybe she'd show up. Instead, they held a Zoom vigil. Her friends and family shed tears and shared memories and photos of her struggling between using past or present tense. Oh, boy, that's rough, man. I don't wish that on nobody, man. Whether we meet in this life or the next, know that your absolutely loved one, friend said. At the end, they played a video of a beaming Gakwa dancing and singing to Jogba Joanna, a song by UK artist Afro B. My children don't understand why their auntie is not calling them, how she just disappeared, Abedi said. Sometimes I just imagine her walking through the door and saying, why are you looking for a grown woman like me? As the days go by and nothing happens, we don't know what to do. Thousands of miles away, Gakwa's parents pray for every night. Her mother's too distraught to talk to reporters, but Campbell, her father, said sharing memories of his daughter helps him cope. He chokes and he remembers their close relationship. She was my only daughter. I spoiled her, and she took advantage of that, he said. She had not introduced Nathan to me. That's what kills me. Some days he's optimistic she'll make it home for Christmas, but most days not so much. I just want to know the truth. I'm still hopeful, but my hope is dwindling. She knows my number, he added. The fact that she has not called, his voice trailed off, and that's the end of the article. Let's before we go on with this and get into the historical part of this presentation, let me talk to you sisters out here for a minute. I'm talking to Foundation of Black American Sisters and Black immigrant sisters out here. For those of you that still have your fathers in your life and you start dating somebody, if you're too ashamed to bring that man before your father so he can get a feel for what type of man this is, that should tell you shouldn't be dating him. If you thinking that when you bring this man before your father, the man that's responsible for raising you, if you had a father to raise you under the same roof, especially, that knows you better than anybody, that you know without a shadow of a doubt loves you and would put his life on the line to defend you, and you can't bring the man that you dating before your father, you better strongly reconsider getting seriously involved with somebody like that, and you damn sure better reconsider moving under the same roof with a person like that, especially if that person is a white person. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You better reconsider that if you are getting yourself in a situation like that with a white person. As a young woman, you have to start thinking about all the times that these situations have went left. It's been too many. And we're going to get into 2 other situations later on in this broadcast. Because, see, I think what the problem is, one of the problems, besides y'all coming over here talking about a cot of this and a cot of that, and you thinking that you so much more smarter than Black Americans because you happen to have relationships with white people that all of us could have over here, but we got sense enough not to trust these people like that. As a collective, are there individuals that are good white people? Yes, there are. But as a collective, with our history, we know damn well not to trust these people. And I think what one of the problems is with a lot of y'all, you judge too much of America by what you see in movies and what you see on TV and certain entertainment that you look at. You have a romanticized view of it, and you don't look into the darker parts of the history of this country. that foundational Black Americans are very well aware of, which is why we are the way we are as a people when it comes to dealing with the dominant society and the greater majority of us. The next part of this is going to go into some historical facts that just may help save your life, especially if you're a young continental African woman and you are surrounded by your friends and everybody's telling you get you a white man when you come over here. We're going to present some facts that's going to give you reason to consider. I want y'all to really absorb the next part of this presentation. So now, in this section of this presentation, family, I want to take the time to break down some of this historical information that just may help, again, save some of you Black immigrants' lives that come over here, particularly you Black immigrant women that are already over here or either thinking about coming over to America and can't wait to get you a white man because of, unfortunately, people in your family have told you that that's the thing to do, or you've gotten that notion into your head by what you see in movies and television over here, and you don't know anything about the history of America. So we're gonna start with some recent history. I'm going to show you the pattern of white serial killers, white male serial killers over here in America. And we're going to read off a list of these jokers and the crimes that they're responsible for that your parents over there big up in the white man don't ever tell you about. They probably don't even know who most of these people are that I'm about to read off. So I want y'all to pay close attention to this. The first one on the list, the happy face killer, Keith Hunter Jesperson. Between 1990, Hunter Jesperson raped and strangled at least 8 women, including his longtime girlfriend, the murder that would lead to his arrest during the course of his crime spree. Now, pay attention to that part in this description of what this man did. Okay? He killed, strangled, and raped his girlfriend. They have a history and a pattern of doing that. These are white women they're doing this to. So I have to reiterate, when you come over here as an African or a Caribbean woman, what makes you think that you will not receive the same treatment if one of these zaddies that you chasing after happens to get pissed off at you or they already have it in their mind that they're going to do you some harm? Let's go to the next one. For those of you in the Christian Obumseli category, and I'm going to keep bringing that up because I want you men to understand that just because you come over here and you get you a white woman and you thinking that because you a man where you come from in an African or Caribbean nation and the men are used to running things over there, let me tell you something. When you come and bring your ass over here to America, white women have more power than any black man over here, even a multi-billionaire, because all she got to do is accuse you of something. And they're going to look at her word as bond. And as we're going to get into here, you can see they come in serial killer variety too. This is Eileen Wuornos. Between 1989 and 1990, this prostitute turned killer, Eileen Wuornos, murdered 7 Johns who had the misfortune of looking for a little extramarital action. A minor traffic accident in one of her victims' cars led to her arrest and eventual 2002 execution. So now, they executed her in 2002, but see, let's look at something. For those of you, I can't wait to get a white woman. Those of you that coming over here, understand that she only got caught because of a minor traffic accident in one of her victims' cars. What if that hadn't occurred? This woman would still be out there killing people. I want you to let that sink in. Let's go to the next one on the list. Keith Bianchi. Okay. Now, this joker was known as the Hillside Strangler. Okay, him and his cousin, Angelo Buono Jr., raped and murdered 10 girls and women by strangulation and other methods, carbon monoxide poisoning, electrical shock, lethal injection in a 4-month period between 1977 through 1978. Buono was apprehended in 1979 and died in prison in 2002 while serving a life sentence. With pressure mounting for police to apprehend the culprits of the Hillside Stranglings, Bianchi fled to Washington State, where he raped and murdered another 2 women before his apprehension. Bianchi is currently serving a life sentence in a California jail. Okay, again, do you see a pattern forming here? Because we're not done yet. For you continental Africans that think white people are so great, and only thing you think about is when something bad happens, you look over here and at the Akatas and listen to what white people tell you. This is the dirt that they don't talk about, that they well know in their society is a problem. You better look up the FBI crime statistics. The white men over here lead in sexual degenerate crimes like rape. Let's get to the next one. The son of Sam, David Berkowitz. David Berkowitz, the son of Sam killer, claimed to be tormented by demons who spoke to him in the form of howling dogs in the neighborhood he lived in. In 1976, Berkowitz claimed the first of his 6 victims, all of whom were shot without provocation and would not stop until his arrest in 1977. He received a 365-year sentence for his actions. I want y'all to look at how crazy Zaddy can be. For those of you that are so thirsty to get you a white man, this is who you going after in this community. Let's get to the next one. The Mad Butcher, Ed Gein. Also known as the Plainfield Ghoul, Ed Gein claimed responsibility for the deaths of 2 women in 1954 and 1957. That means it was over 200. Both women were shot, dismembered, and killed for trophies in Gein's house and shed. He was tried and convicted for the murder of Bernice Warden and died in a mental facility in 1984. Do you hear the savagery with which these men conduct these murders? They don't just kill you, they will keep you in their homes for trophies. Yet y'all think white daddy is so good over here, huh? You get you a zaddy, huh? How many of you from African and Caribbean nations have heard about the few that I've just read off so far? Because we got a lot more to go. I want you to understand the magnitude of the stupidity for you to come over here and go running to white men when you don't know a damn thing about the history of these people's brutality in this country toward their own women. Let's get to the next one. Now, as we see right here, Leonard Lake and Charles Ng. For those of you that thinking Asian zaddy so much better, listen to this. At least 12 bodies were found on the property of Leonard Lake in Wesleyville, California, including those of 2 couples and their small child. 5 men lured to the ranch to be robbed and murdered, and an 18-year-old woman. In addition to dozen corpses found, police also discovered over 45 pounds of charred human bone fragments, which could have come from as many as 25 additional people. Both men videotaped the torture, rape, and killing of several other victims. Leonard Lake committed suicide by cyanide pill while in police custody, and Charles Ng has been on death row in California since 1999. Do y'all hear this? Again, how many of you over in continental African nations keep up with the slew of white serial killers over here in the United States of America and the atrocities committed? They quick to tell you about what black Americans do. Y'all see that on the news all the time, and y'all don't even understand that that's systematic. They hide the criminality in their community. If you do hear about them committing any crimes, the story is only in the news for a couple of days, if that. And then they back to talking about what black people doing, as if we the only group in this country that commit crime. We don't commit crime at no higher rate than anybody else. The only problem is the reason why you see us in the news so much is because it's systematically set up to do that. And then the only reason that you see us being arrested more is because, just like we seen, unfortunately, in the situation with our sister Irene Gakwa there, they don't charge and arrest people for doing things, in their community like that. They really don't. They have to do, it takes so much. Let's see, for the people that they caught here or executed that I read you so far, because we got a long way to go. For these people, look what all they had to do before they actually got arrested and sent to prison. Look at what all they had to do. Look how many people they killed. 45 pounds of human charred bone. I want you continental Africans and Caribbean folks to understand what you're about to hear here and really take this into account when you're making these decisions to go hop over there and cross the fence. Let's get to the next one. The toy box killer, David Parker Ray. David Parker Ray, the toy box killer sexually tortured, notice the thing with the sexual torture, and killed his victims in a converted RV trailer equipped with thousands of dollars of S&M and bondage equipment. For those of you like to get over here and get with Zaddy and he'd be tying you up and all of that shit, you might get you a David Parker Ray, as well as a manner of torture devices. Women were abused and recorded and then presumably killed, though no remains were ever found in or near the Toy Boys location near Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. Parker Ray died of a heart attack in 2002, shortly after a sentencing plea bargain dealt him a 224-year sentence. Y'all see that, right? Look at the mindset of these people. And see, I want you to pay a particular close attention to the way this joker look right here. Now, brothers and sisters over here that are foundational Black Americans, and I got to go here with it because any continental African that sees this know I'm telling the truth. Most of y'all would look over here and look at an old wrinkled up white man that looked like this, and you wouldn't even be interested. They go over to the continent of Africa and they run the table. It ain't nothing for you to go to Uganda, Kenya, several other African nations over there and see old white men like this in their 60s, damn near 70s, running around with little 20-something-year-old African women. I got to tell the truth and shame the devil. That's why a lot of y'all are so gullible and eager to get with them when you come over here. But you don't understand that when you come over here, see, at least if you dating them over there, as shameful as it is, at least if you dating them over there, if they do something to you, they got a better chance of facing justice over there. You come over here to America, they got home field advantage over you over here. And if you ain't white and something happened to you, it's going to be no big deal. Just like, unfortunately, the situation that y'all have seen earlier that we were talking about with the sister Irene Gakwa. Let's get to the next one. Dennis Rader, BTK. Known as the BTK killer, blind, torture, kill, Dennis Rader was charged with the murders of 10 people in Kansas, including 4 members of a neighboring family and several others he stalked and became obsessed with between the years of 1971 through 1994. In 2004, Rader began communicating with police, even going so far as to send them information on a floppy disk. And see, you know what? This is the other thing that y'all don't understand about these white male serial killers here. Sometimes they're so successful in what they're doing, they can kill so many people that they get bored and actually want to be caught and will actually try to help the police catch them. And they'll go out their way not to arrest them, talking about they're nice guys. Yet y'all want to come over here and you divestment dummies. See, y'all don't talk about all these. And see, that's another thing. For you continental African sisters that are thinking about immigrating over here, that you so zaddy crazy, ask yourself why them divestment dummies that talk so much shit about black men over here, why they don't ever tell you the dangers of getting with a white serial killer. Ask yourself, why come when you see sisters like Irene Gakwa going missing, why come they don't be the first on the front lines trying to get justice for that sister and demand what happened to her and see some justice come of that for the family? They don't have no type of organization set up to help these people. You better start thinking about this. Let's get to the next one. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, went on a killing spree in the Los Angeles area that claimed the lives of at least 13 and as many as 16 in a spree that included shootings, mutilations, and rapes of his actual intended victims. Y'all see this? So Hispanics had to get in on it too, because over here he classified as white. Y'all better start understanding that when you come over here and you have so much high esteem and interest in these other groups of men that you think can do no wrong, these are the stories that you don't hear about where you from. Let's get to the next one. Edmund Kemper. Edmund Kemper, known as the co-ed killer, claimed 10 victims before surrendering to police in 1973. Kemper was confined to a juvenile facility after killing his parents at age 15. This bastard killed his parents. I want y'all to understand this is what Zaddy is into, and carried on with his killings after being released. In 1972 through 1973, Kemper killed his mother and a friend, as well as 6 female college students who he mutilated and had sex with after their deaths. This man killed them and had sex with their corpses. Kemper is currently serving a life sentence in the general population in a California jail. This is Zaddy that y'all out over here. Let's get to the next one. Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. Over the course of nearly 20 years, Gary Ridgway, known as the Green River Killer, terrorized areas surrounding the Green River. And you know what? Them murders right there, what he did, I can't even go into detail about all of that. Yeah, just look him up. Just look him up to get the rest of his history. Let's get to the next one. H.H. Holmes. We going back now. So did you see how far the serial killer epidemic goes in this country back here with the white males? Doctor. Hear that? For those of you that were told, get you a white doctor over there. Because you know some of y'all family members done told y'all to do that. Get you a doctor. This was a doctor here. Dr. H.H. Holmes confessed to 27 murders and is believed to have killed as many as 200 people during the time period surrounding the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago. Holmes ran a hotel equipped for killing, outfitted with gas lines into guest rooms, giant furnaces, lime and acid pits, and large vaults, and would torture, suffocate, and strangle his victims before disposing of them in the facility. Man, y'all understand this? See, this is history. These people have a bloodthirsty history and a track record of being serial killers. That is something that you cannot claim to be true for black people. For every 20, 30 of them, you may find one or two black people that were serial killers. And they know that too. They can't hide that. But see, if you wasn't privy to that information before you move over here, y'all think everything white is right. Let's get to the next one. Jeffrey Dahmer. Some of you might have heard of him. Between 1988 through 1991, Jeffrey Dahmer killed 17 men in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, before the escape of his would-be 18th victim led to his capture. Dahmer is perhaps best known for dismembering and consuming parts of his victims. Yes, Dahmer was eating folks. All that cannibalism they try to claim existed over there in Africa. These people are your real cannibals over here. Read the book, The Delectable Negro by Vincent Woodard, if you want to know more about that. Many of which were found in his apartment at the time of his arrest. Dahmer died in prison as a result of a work detail beating in 1994. Yeah, they got that bastard up out the paint because he was running around killing and eating black people. Just getting away with it too at that. Yeah, I want y'all to understand what you're dealing with over here, but y'all got to have Zaddy, huh? Let's get to the next one. John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy, known as the Clown Killer, raped, tortured, and murdered at least 33 boys and men between 1972 and 1978 in Chicago, Illinois. He was discovered by police to have 29 bodies hidden in the crawl space of his house and admitted to having killed more men. Oh, man, see, you know what? I'm going to let y'all do y'all research and see what else he did. Because, see, anytime that they start admitting that it's more people, this means these people have done this for years. And I want you to take a good look at John Wayne Gacy's face and think about Nathan Heitman's face that you just saw in the earlier part of this presentation. Look at the similarities. See, over here as Foundation of Black Americans, let me tell y'all black immigrants something, man. We stay away from these people and don't trust them because of their history towards us. But over time, we've also learned how to recognize those of them in their community that have these sick mindsets about them. There's a look that they have. And see, those of you that are not from here, you wouldn't know nothing about that unless you got with some of us and we gamed you up on that. Which is why we keep telling you, when you go and segregate and isolate yourself off with just your people that are new over here, or those of your family members that are buck dancing coons and all they know how to do is kiss white ass and they don't think white people do no wrong and just turn their head from everything wrong that white people do. You put yourself in situations where you start dating them thinking that there's nothing wrong and they just see you as people and that goofiness talking about we all one human race. Let me ask y'all something. Particularly my continental African brothers and sisters and Caribbean brothers and sisters. When you hear a white person tell you we all one human race, do you understand that when they are alone with each other, that's not how they conduct themselves as if we all one human race? See, if it was all one human race, they wouldn't be doing the things that they're doing over there in your homelands to keep your puppet leaders in power that keep you in destitute positions where you have to flee your homelands and come over here. When you are running around talking about we're all one human race as a continental African or Caribbean person, do you realize that you don't hear that from Asians, Italians, Hispanic people, Arab people, and a few white people that tell you that they have an ulterior motive behind that? Do you ever stop to think about that? That the joke might be on you and you the only fool running around believing in something that these people don't even practice over here? I want y'all to let that sink in. Let's get to the next one. Everybody should have heard of Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy embarked on a 5-year killing spree in 1974 that would not end until his capture in 1979. Bundy confessed to 30 murders on his arrest, though authorities believe the actual death toll is somewhere around 100. I triple that. He was executed by electrocution in 1989. Let me give you a little background on Ted Bundy. I'm going to tell you why this is the one that I chose to save for last. Ted Bundy had a reputation for being handsome and attractive amongst the women of his community. Now, when you look at Ted Bundy right here in this mugshot, I'm pretty sure some of you, even though you just heard what I read, some of you motherfuckers over here are so far gone that you would probably think he's attractive and would probably date him if he was free and living today. That's just the truth. That's just how far gone some of you are. I understand that some of you are just suicidal and it ain't no use trying to save you, but should this video fall upon at least 2 or 3 of you that are continental Africans or Caribbeans, and you take into consideration what I'm saying, even if you don't like how I said it, do your research on what I presented you with. Look up the FBI crime statistic and see who leads in these degenerate sexual crimes and murder and everything, besides just what white people told you. Because this information could save your life or the life of somebody else that you know that has newly immigrated over here that don't understand the danger they're putting themselves in when you all go and move to these predominantly white areas and you get up under the first white ass that you can to kiss. Not thinking at all that, okay, if these people decide to do something to me, I don't have any backup. I'm surrounded by white people. Where do you think white supremacists in America live? They don't live in black neighborhoods. They live in predominantly white communities. And you run your little asses over there thinking that you're going to get special treatment because you African or because you Jamaican or Haitian. Y'all better stop and listen to what I'm saying. Y'all better stop and contemplate on this list of serial killers that I've given you. And that's just a fraction of them. I just chose to read you several of note that people know about. For every one that they decide to catch, think about the rest of them out there that go on for decades that never get caught, waiting on some young, gullible black immigrant to come over here so you can be their next victim, because they know that it's going to take an act of God or nature to get them charged with anything. You better let that sink in. Take a look at this bastard, Nathan Heitman. Think about that list of serial killers that we just went through. Look at him. I want to try to teach you brothers and sisters something. Look at his face. Look at his overall look. He could fit right on that list. Take a look at your black immigrant sister over here. From Kenya. Moved over here, believing all the hype about America through a romanticized view that probably she developed by looking at movies, and probably have family members that just idolize America so much and don't talk about anything regarding the history of racism and white supremacy over here, which I just don't understand how none of y'all try to even do research on that at all. I want y'all to take a good look at this woman. Her family probably gonna never see her again, and that's very unfortunate. But one thing that y'all better start doing when y'all come over here, you better stop isolating yourself from foundational black Americans and start learning from us, because this is our homeland that we did not flee from, and we know it better than anybody. We know not to trust these people like this. Too many of you get over here and you damn near starstruck as soon as a white person even grin in your direction. Unfortunately, when many of them come to your countries, You can't wait to start singing and dancing when they get off planes to greet them. They don't do that for you when you get here. You just another nigga when you come over here. That's how they see you. You better stop looking at situations that happen to Africans and saying, okay, if they're not Kenyan or they're not Nigerian or if they're not Ghanaian, if they're not, from Ethiopia, if they're not from any country over there, you better stop looking at situations just like when they, our brothers and sisters up there were stranded in Ukraine. When that war happened between them, it kicked off, which is still ongoing. The way they got you stranded up there in Dubai, y'all better stop looking at things, well, they not from my country, so that ain't my problem. See, for those of you that are so stuck on Pan-Africanism should be more than just saying that. Pan-Africanism should be a concern for your fellow black brothers and sisters, no matter where we from. But see, y'all won't even practice that. You two broke up on this tribalism. You be fighting against each other and you go to these other places in the West, over here in America, the UK, over in the far Eastern Europe, places like Ukraine. And you don't realize that you the only one on that tribal shit because see, when it comes time to do you some harm, white people, no matter where they from, are going to be on the same page against you. Your help is not going to come from nowhere else if you don't get it from other black people. Nathan Heitman, Irene Gakwa. But that's not the only one. Because see, let's take a look at this. This is Asia Maynard and Isaiah Crown. Same situation. This woman was found dead. They didn't do nothing to this guy. Now you take a look at him. That's what y'all end up going for. You see a white man that look like this and he show you some interest. And the next thing you know, you're missing somewhere. This woman had 4 children for what I understand. Now her children don't have a mother. Lawrence Smith Fields and Matthew Fountain. The white man that killed her, she overdosed on fentanyl. Now, I got to go here with it. Because I don't care whether you foundational Black American or continental African or Caribbean. When you look at Lawrence Smith Fields, this is an attractive sister. But she had an ugly soul and an ugly mind because she was one of the ones sitting over here in the divestment dummy community calling black men bullet bags. Oh, you just had so much smoke for black man. The tweet's still up. Y'all can see them for yourself. And then, ironically and unfortunately, because I refuse to celebrate anybody's death, the same white man that you were praising is responsible for your death. And guess what? He wasn't charged either. He's still free. Yet her parents no longer have their daughter. And she was only 23 to my understanding. I did this video as a warning and as a sincere plea to any of you continental Africans or Caribbean women and men that think that when you come to America, that you gonna somehow be different, and they tell you that you're better than Black Americans. They tell you that you special, and they blow all kinds of smoke and compliments up your ass. I hope that something in this video makes you stop and think that even if you're going to deal with these people, you better not put yourselves in certain situations with them. Because if it goes left and you in predominantly white areas, their people are going to cover up for them. I remember the situation with Tamala Horsford here in Georgia. Went over to a sleepover with her so-called good white buddies. And all of a sudden, she just magically fell off a damn balcony and died. Let me tell y'all something, man. Those of us who are foundational Black Americans over here, we know that no matter how drunk any of us get, we got sense enough not to go near no damn balcony. That's not something that's common for a black person to do. And most of black person gonna do if they get drunk, if they got any sense, some may try to fight somebody, but most people can go and sit down somewhere. I bring that up to show you yet again how they all got away with it. Nobody was charged. And everybody that's investigated, they'll ask them some questions, but there's not going to be no consequences. So the smart thing that I'm saying to you as I get ready to close this here is, in life, you better remember that sometimes when you make certain bad decisions, there's no turning back for them. There's no escaping the consequences. It's better not to be in certain situations by choice than practice willful ignorance and then nobody ever hear from you again. Think deeply on these words. Share this with somebody that you know that's thinking about immigrating over here. And pay close attention to the historical part of this where we reviewed those serial killers. It could be life or death. With that said, Black first, like, share, subscribe. I'll see you all in future content. Celebrate the foundational Black American culture of freedom fighting and resistance with the first annual Aretha 5K run. This cultural experience will honor our FBA ancestors and icons while harnessing energy from our past to power our future. There will be security at this event to ensure everyone has a safe and enjoyable experience. Aretha Run is a cultural event for family and friends. Strollers and wheelchairs are welcome. The in-person event will include a free 1-mile fun walk and will be held on December 17th in Tampa, Florida. Unable to make the live event, you can also participate virtually anywhere from December 17th to December 30th. All registered participants will receive the official Aretha Run finisher medal, t-shirt, and more with the ability to upload their race time to the official site. Live event participants will receive the time race scores, professional finisher photo, video, and your name will be announced as you're welcomed across the finish line. Enjoy the post-race after party and review with a traditional FBA breakfast. You can also help us settle fun family debates like sugar or salt and grits. Prepare with family workouts and runs and post on social media using the hashtag Aretha For registered info and sponsorship opportunities, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Click the link in the bio. Hope to see you all there.